Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
I have 4 friends. I'm trying to get rid of one of them.
I do a podcast with 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Welcome to Drum and Drummer.
To Drum and Drummer.
What is Kevin from The Office's favourite number? 69.
Good.
That is the episode title today. That's as, descriptive as I'll get with the number 69. Let's not get corny and do all 69 jokes. This is episode 69. Let's just get that out of the way now. Because I know you're all thinking it at home. You're all going, oh, I bet they've got something planned for episode 69. Well, we haven't. Well, we do. We've got a guest.
We've got another guest. Yep.
James Gillingham.
James Gillingham.
When you listen to the episode, you'll see that I actually forgot his surname when we started. Just introduced him as James, but that's okay. He is...
I wasn't sure if it was Gillingham or Gillingham.
Yeah.
Like the football club.
I'm still not 100%. Now you've said that, it's
Gillingham. He said Gillingham. He
did.
Hard G, yeah.
But now I've heard both names.
Yeah.
It's put doubt in my mind. But James G is on the show today.
Well, lots to sort of tie you two together. Brighton, drums.
Yep.
BIM.
Yep. Late 20s.
Late 20s, and a severe medical condition that afflicts you both. And I was also in the podcast.
Yeah. But if there's ever a reason to stick around, that was almost like our clickbait, Yeah. What is the medical condition? Because we talk about it, and it's arguably the best part of the chat. So, dive on in.
Well, let's just go. Lovely chat, and here's what we spoke about. Interesting stuff.
Welcome to Drum About Town. Like that.
Oh, he's prepared that.
Yeah.
Damn.
I got to sleep about 2 a.m. writing that. I'll explain. James is our guest today, and he also had or has a podcast.
It was definitely had. I'm trying to convince my friend to do it again.
You should.
Yeah,
I listened to the Nick Ward episode today, and it was hilarious. I didn't quite get to the court short segment.
Sure.
But I got a long car journey later. I'll listen to it. But this is our first guest who's had a podcast.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. How did you find doing a podcast? Let's just dive in with that.
I actually felt a lot less than right now. I felt a lot of pressure whenever I press the record, much like when you're drumming and doing like a drum video, I feel that pressure, that red light fever. So, I really enjoyed it. Ours was very much weird. Like that was the theme, was weirdness. So, it was very fun though. Very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was, I heard you talk about that on that episode, and it was just like, as soon as you start recording, it is scary. Even now when we have a guest on, I'm like, what if they don't talk, and what if they, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, no, it is hard. It's hard.
Yeah, no, it is. But you're of course a drummer, so that's why we got you on. And I met you the other night at your gig with Edie Benz.
That's the one. The one.
And I hadn't met you before, but our friend Dean, mutual friend Dean, was like, "Oh, you guys should meet." And we'll talk about that first, because I've never seen someone play drums so quietly but so well. Like, I'm not gonna say that you're a quiet drummer, because obviously you play for Congratulations, which aren't that. Which
aren't research.
Quiet. Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. That's all I've done though. Those 2 people. And
most of the time was coming up with Drum About Town.
Yeah.
That was priority number 1.
Yeah. Write a joke. We've got Edie Benz. We've got Congratulations. Is there anyone else that you play for?
Yeah, I've just come from a rehearsal with Stephen Bamadelli, actually, which is he's amazing as well. I don't know how I describe his music. There's sort of soul, hip hop, also sort of jazz elements in that. So that's very, very different to Edie Benz. They're all extremely different. I also play for a guy called Caleb Harris as well, sometimes, and then also do functions as well. So it's all a bit too much, you know.
Is that, it is a bit. Is that what you say you are, like a session drummer? One of those guys that does a bit of everything?
Yeah, I'd say I sort of was a band guy at BIM. I did very, very much was a band guy. I never really done the session stuff. And then through my friend Ish Hussein, who pretty much plays bass for the whole of Brighton, I think. He just, anytime someone needs a drummer, he now sort of recommends me. And he recommends other drummers as well. But so he got me into playing with one of them, and then as soon as I played for one, everyone's friends are like, oh, a lot of people in all these bands actually all have their own things, so they're all sort of asked me to play for them and stuff. So yeah, it's all through Ish, really, I guess.
So let's talk about Edie Benz. How would you describe her music?
I would say folky pop, but I absolutely love it. It's that's a really fun gig actually. I think actually with all of the gigs I'm in, I have quite a lot of involvement in terms of like recording as well, and with Edie stuff I record as well as play live, so it's really great because a lot of the parts I either was involved in writing or wrote myself. So I find there's something different about when you write your own drum parts, like when you play it live, they're just so natural, you don't have to think about it so much. And it's really, I really love that gig. It's really, really great.
Yeah, no, it was fun seeing you play because it was sort of, I guess, folky, singer-songwriter vibes, and it was all very soft, but it was perfect for that room as well, folklore rooms. And after I saw you play, we actually talked about this on the pod, playing quietly at a gig, and you had to really, your cymbals were taped up. There was a towel on the snare.
Yeah.
It was just like, How do you find playing quietly, basically?
I think it's one of the hardest things in drumming is to play quietly. On that gig, I had a big fat snare drum and a towel on the snare. And we had like a proper sound engineer, and he was straight away in sound check, like, your snare is way too much. You got to dial it back. I also had a lesson with Freddie Sheed, who's Lewis Capaldi's drummer, used to play in Japanese house as well. And he sort of spoke about like how it's not good technique, but like little tricks and stuff of being quiet and sort of like choking up on the stick, and kind of holding it not really correctly, but you're not really going to injure yourself playing quiet stuff like that. So in order to sort of get that, be really quiet, I find I have to choke up quite a lot on the stick as well.
When you say that, because this is a great drumming tip, you're sort of starting to say, is that like, how do you mean choking up on the stick?
Playing, holding the stick higher than your usual sort of fulcrum on the stick. So I always tell my students, if anyone uses Vic Firth, to put their thumb on the flag for like the perfect fulcrum, which I'm sure everyone's heard. But I'd go higher than that usually with because I'm normally right at the bottom of the stick, but when I'm playing quiet, I'd go right up to the middle. I think that was something Freddie Sheed mentioned as well. And also maybe like kind of holding it a little bit tighter, which is something I don't recommend to do. But in like a situation where you're searching for a sound and you're playing quietly anyway, so you're not going to get injured, I think it's all right to do that kind of thing. It's hard though. It's really hard.
It is. I guess that makes sense in the sense of, if your hand is tighter on the stick, you're forced to make smaller movements, if that makes sense. I guess that's part of it. You can't bring your arm back. It's but it was great. It was a lovely gig, that gig.
Thanks.
And but I know that you also play for Congratulations. Yes. I want to hear about them because I looked them up and sort of loud. How would you describe that band?
I think that's the hardest question in my life at the moment. People asking me, well, how would I describe Congratulations? Yeah, it's crazy. It's literally the opposite of what I just spoke about. It is my technique has to be really spot on in that actually, because I hit so hard in that band. So I don't know. It's rock. Our singer Leah, she can also scream really well as well, and there's elements where we don't really, not so much in the recordings, but live she'll just break into a scream, and we are like really heavy. There's definitely like sort of elements of metal there, but then Jamie, the guitar player, he loves Prince, so there's a lot of sort of like that funk element in there as well, and then but we all love the Beatles, so we do a lot of singing as well and harmonies, so it's a real mismatch of weirdness, to be honest.
Well, what do you mean by technique for like playing loud?
I find that But I think I'm a weak human. You see, I think I'm a very weak.
Emotionally, or like...
Both. Let's go all round. I'm a weak human, so I get quite injured quite easily. Like running, anything like that. So and in drumming as well, I've had to really think about my technique. And when you're hitting that hard, I've had to really work on that sort of like that whipping motion on with the hand on particularly like rim shots and. Also, actually, like cymbals as well. I find in those kind of bands, your cymbals are too loud as well. So trying to hit the snare really loud, but not have your cymbals actually that loud, but still looking like you're hitting hard. It's all actually quite a balancing act, I find.
It really is, because the cymbals are the thing that can just swamp everything. You know, if you're laying into a ride or a big crash, it's suddenly completely lost. So when you're talking about technique, is that something you've studied when you're playing, like Moella or something like that? Or
yeah, I mean, I sort of like, well, I guess I did learn a lot from Pat Garvey at BIM. I mean, he's absolutely the master. I listened to Laurie's podcast, Laurie on your podcast, and he said a lot of amazing things. What a well-spoken human, by the way. He's great.
Very well spoken. He said that, here's a little fact about Laurie. When they went on tour, Laurie would read the Financial Times on the tour bus.
Oh my God.
Dean was like, come on, we're on tour. What are you doing? He's like, oh, I just need to see what the stocks are doing. He was like, ridiculous. You're 30, you know? But yeah, go on. Yeah, sorry. Technique.
So I think I learned a lot from Pat Garvey as well. I had a couple of really cool teachers throughout when I was younger as well. But I think generally I've sort of just had to work out a lot of it out myself, actually. Like it's definitely up the molar, but I've looked a little bit into Dave Elitch's stuff as well in terms of like posture, because I got tendonitis in my shoulder. And that actually came from how I was sitting and where my hi-hat foot was and stuff like that. So just thinking about everything being connected, trying to work on my posture. But yeah, a lot of that whipping motion I find is really, really crucial, because you see a lot of drummers using a lot of arm, and like that power comes from brute force, whereas I think the power should really be, you don't need to actually put that much energy into getting a really loud snare hit and stuff like that. It's sort of, can all come from that whip.
And also, when you're playing a rim shot, I saw Tommy Igo talk about this. I think that's how you pronounce his second name. But he was talking about young drummers that are playing rim shots, and they just sort of leave the stick in the snare and don't let it bounce back. And he said that's so bad for you. You know, he said you can get away with it when you're like 19, but he said like all that energy when you drop the stick into the snare, it's like, where does that energy go? It just goes into your arm, because it's it's just all that shock. And it's fascinating. Health for drummers is so important. I think who was that guy? Freddie Freddie Sheed. So he actually, I was talking about Dave Elitch a minute ago. I think Dave Elitch filled in for a 1975 gig when George broke his collarbone or something like that, and then they actually got Freddie Sheed in instead of Dave Elitch, because I think he sounded more like the 1975. So I think they those two know each other. But he was, when we were talking about technique, he was saying how like this is very wrong, and like someone like Dave Elitch would hate me for saying this, like how about like choking up on the stick. But he's always sort of searching for sound and different ways to make sort of him sound better in the studio or live and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we could get down a whole rabbit hole of different teachers, but I think it was Freddie who said he had lessons from, I want to say Bob Armstrong, but I could be wrong. I don't want to misquote, but he said, a lot of it was just getting his posture right. You know, it was like he went in and sat down, and the whole hour was just like, no, let's get that back straight. And it's something we haven't really spoken about on here. It's just like certain things to improve, because my thing was my wrist was bent. My left wrist was bent when I was playing the snare, and I didn't even know, and I've had to correct that. Oh wow! And it's just like there must be, if you don't find out what the problem is, there must be drummers all around the world that just have little, like with you and your hi-hat thing. Yeah. You never know that, Yeah, I think, I talk to my students a lot about this, because I'm not perfect. I'm definitely on that. I've just sort of started in the last year thinking about sort of trying not to get injured and stuff like that, and different things after I hurt my shoulder. But so I'm trying to talk, my younger students, try and get them really early on to sort of getting into doing everything right in the first place, and then you don't have to fix them down the line. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about teaching then. So is that something that occupies a lot of your week, teaching? Yeah, definitely. It's my main income.
because I think like a lot of people don't really talk about money, and I'm definitely not scared to talk about money, because I was obsessed with, like, when I was leaving BIM, like, how do people live, like, as a musician? Like, it's just, I don't make any money, and I don't make much money from a lot of the session stuff. It's mostly the teaching, really, to be honest. So yeah, it's a huge part of my week. I have about 27 private students, and I don't do any school stuff, so it's all done just in my studio, which I recently got. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Where have you got a studio? Is that in Brighton or?
Yeah, it's in Portslade. I'm actually this is my old room I'm in right now. It's my friend Tom. He's a producer called Scoop Monty. I'm in his studio right now, but my one's downstairs.
Amazing.
My friend's in there playing right now. But yeah, I absolutely love it. It's a dream come true, actually, to have a studio. It's really great for the students as well, because I think for about 5 years I taught with just one drum kit. Now it's quite amazing. It's great to sort of have the 2 drum kits, and it really adds a different layer to the teaching.
Oh, it does, definitely. So is there like an average week for you? I always ask session drummers this, is it like teaching and then you've got gigs, or is it very changeable as a session drummer?
Oh, I would love it to be more structured, but yeah, it is. My lessons are extremely structured. They're always the same every week. And then I've got like some adults that are sort of more friends that I just do as and when. But yeah, daytimes I'm quite free normally, but then that gets filled up with these rehearsals. So yeah, it changes depending on what gig's coming up, but the teaching is very scheduled. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing what you're saying, because we actually had a guest yesterday and he was talking about that, but he was saying he had a full-time job before he became the drummer for Paolo Nutini. It was this guy, Jay Sakura, but he was talking about, money and stuff. And yeah, he said he almost sounded like he didn't want to worry about making money from drums. He was like, I'm going to have he worked for Apple, and it was just like people, because it's such a thing, to be like, how do I make money from drums? And it's like, I think teaching is the main way. But
yeah. Well, I had a since leaving BIM, so I don't know how long it's been now, maybe like 6 years, but since leaving BIM, I had a job. I used to work at Starbucks, and I absolutely despised it. But I would every time I got a new boss, there's such a high turnover in these workplaces, I would just tell them that I didn't work a day. I was like, oh, by the way, I've got this special arrangement where I don't work on Tuesdays and stuff like that. And then I went through like 5 bosses, and it got to the point where I was only working 1 day a week, and the teaching had just built up really slowly. And then I was like, why do I still work here? I don't have to work it. And that was like a year and a half ago now. Now it's and it's amazing doing just teaching. But yeah, so it's a real sort of trying really hard to find a balance. Definitely around Christmas time, I run a gig for all my students like around Christmas, so they can sort of perform to their parents and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And running that while doing all the lessons, and like doing all of the like Christmas gigs as well, like that definitely, I was burnt out then. So it's a tough balance to find, I find.
It is a tough balance, because it's that thing, I think we all have it, especially if you do function gigs where in the summer you're like, oh, this is amazing, I'm rich, you're my wildest, and it's going to be like this forever. And then it gets to October, and then you're like, oh, I've got no money. It's is your year sort of go like that? Do you function gig booked up in the summer, or?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I love functions, because there's no like, if you can't do a function, you just get someone else is going to want £200 on a weekend, so you can easily sort of like dep it out. But they're so fun and so chill, especially with my band. And but yeah, it's definitely very, very busy in the summer, but I am yet to work out where my money goes in the summer, because I earn so much more, but I don't seem to end up with more at the at the time.
It's so bipolar, isn't it? That function income, and me and Neil are always chatting like, and we just come to the conclusion like it's a seasonal gig, but you can try and save the money from the summer to last you over the winter, but in reality, and then you just start again every 6 months. It's like, I'm skint. Oh, I've got loads of money. Oh, I'm skint again.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to manage. Did you find when you left BIM, did you feel prepared to start a career as a drummer?
That's a good question. No, but I feel like that naivety is quite good in a way, because you throw yourself into things that, like, if someone had told me everything I had to go through to get to the point where I am now, have my own studio, live off just music, I would probably be terrified of the amount of work I had to put in. But sort of having that naivety of like, oh, I'll just give it a go. I was almost, I think that was great in a way, but no, I definitely didn't feel ready. But mine definitely happened very much over time, and I think that's something I would say if I was to ever talking to a BIM student, would be like, just don't worry about it, because I was always so worried about like stuff's not happening, and like, but it just takes so much longer than you think. You know, I feel like I'm 27 now, and I'm only just getting to sort of the place where I want to be, but I thought I'd be there by 21. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I had the same because I was at BIM. I'm trying to work out because I'm a year older than you, I guess, because I'm 28, but I don't know what years we were. When did you start there?
This is ridiculous. I don't know. I feel like
do you know when you left?
I think 2016.
Just a blur.
It's all a blur. It really is. The pandemic's ruined me. I can't remember past up to the pandemic.
Just the lost 10 years.
There's just what's happened in the last year, and then time before COVID.
Yeah.
That's just now. It's kind of gone. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, but I get what you mean, because I remember when I started BIM, and I was so naive. I was like, oh, the kooks went here, so if I go here, I guess I'll be an equivalent of the kooks, you know?
Yep.
Easy. Yeah. Next. And then I started, and I remember in first year, I remember talking to some guy who just left BIM, and he was saying to me on the beach, he's like, by the way, it's harder than it seems. He was like, I got a cruise gig and now I'm a teacher, but that's about it. And I was like, yeah, maybe for you, but I'm a rock star immediately. You know what I mean? And then you sort of leave and you're like, oh shit. And it's funny because, even some mates of mine, as you said, it's like, it's only now that things are starting to happen. And I left, 6 years ago, I think. So it's like, it's tricky, but it's hanging in there, isn't it?
Just about, we're still here. So
yeah,
I think we got to wait until everyone. Yeah. I was just waiting till enough people quit music that there's just us left. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's why I'm always annoyed when a new young drummer comes up and they, you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? You're 22. Get out. Wait till I've got the gigs, and then the new ones can come through.
Exactly.
Let's talk about drum gear, because you've got a lovely kit that I saw. I don't know. I can't remember if it was the Premier or Natal, but it's like a bluish green color.
I have a Premier and a Natal, so that
both
might be where.
Blue?
One in blue and one in that sort of like seafoam green. So the Natal kit is like that sort of 2012-14 seafoamy green one that I used at that gig.
Okay. I think I'm thinking of the Premier, because I want to talk about Premier, because is that even a company anymore, or is that?
Yes, they're owned by Gear for Music now.
Yeah, really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. And they, my friend Demelza, she's endorsed by Premier, so she was telling me about this. So yeah, they're owned by Gear for Music, but I think the people that used to make Premier now make British Drum Co.
Yeah,
and they're amazing. I think British Drum Co are great. But yeah, I've got an 80s Premier kit that I found on eBay for 200 quid, and it is the best sounding thing I've ever heard. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, because it was an Edie Benz session in this crazy studio with this must be like £4,000 vintage Ludwig kit. It sounded so good, but then I did another session with her in a different studio, and my friend Matt, who's the producer, he has a vintage Premier, and it didn't sound like quite as good, but I mean, you weren't really going to tell. It still sounded amazing, and that's what really got me onto like the vintage Premier stuff, because I feel like if it had a Gretsch or a Ludwig badge on it, that stuff would go for thousands. It's amazing. Like, it's so good.
I mean, it's interesting, certain kits like that. There was one that Laurie said that is basically, do you know what I'm on about? It's equivalent of like the Yamaha ones, and it's under a different name. So
it was a Tama one, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like basically the same shells as a Yamaha Stage Custom or something, but half the price,
Yeah. Exactly. It's weird. It's brand, isn't it?
Yeah. I went on a hunt for that kit after he said that. I was like, oh, this is the best tip. And I vastly underestimated how poor I am still couldn't afford it.
Honestly, drums and money at the moment, that's like everyone on all those drum pages just talking about how expensive drum heads have become. Not to get boring, but I don't know how we're going to survive, to be honest. I've got to buy new hard cases, and I can't do that. It's we're in the wrong job, basically.
It's the most boring purchase, isn't it? Like when you have to buy a new drum stool or a new cymbal stand, or even cases are the worst. They're like £100, and you're like, this is so boring.
Yeah. Well, we've said it before, haven't we, Ben? Because it's like it's not even like you can see. It's not like a guitarist buying a new pedal and you're like, oh, now I can make this new noise. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like buying sticks. It's like, it's just more Victor 5As. You know?
It's your car MOT, isn't it? It's just replacing that to just keep it going, but it's still worse than it was before because it's not new. And you spend all that money on cases and then you do a gig and they're like, oh, can you move your cases out of the way? And it's like, hang on a minute, these cost me £500. I think the bride and groom are going to want to see these.
Yeah.
These are some nice new cases. Yeah.
All in the kit. Is that your go-to kit then? The Premier kit?
So the Premier stays. I am too much of an absolute sort of organizational nightmare to be moving stuff around. So I've got to have things that just stay where they are. So I've got a whole set of hardware and kit for gigs that just stays in its cases, and that's the Natal kit. And then I've got the Premier that just stays in the studio. Took me a long while to sort of save up to get all that stuff, but it's really worth it actually, because when I do like sometimes 7 lessons on a Saturday in a row, and then off to do a function in the summer, and you don't want to have to be tearing stuff down after that. Nope. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, I think that's been my dream for a long while, and I'm really happy that I can just sort of leave microphones up and stuff like that as well for remote sessions. So
yeah, that's great. Are you sharing that studio with any, like your room? Is that fully your room?
No. Well, I sort of was the first person in there, but no, I share it with a friend called Tom Earl. I'd love to give him a shout out. He doesn't. Yeah. I feel like not many people know him as a drummer, but he's absolutely incredible. He's so good. Yeah, called Tom Earl. Also share it with a young guy from Waterbear called Finn. But yeah, and they're all really great, really relaxed. Just a nice group of people.
Yeah, it is. I used to use Ben's studio, which he's at, as my little drum practice place, and it was. I miss it. To be honest, Ben, you know what I mean? But
we miss you, George, to be honest.
Well, yeah, don't live there no more.
No, but, someone went to chase his dreams in Brighton.
Exactly.
He wanted to be in the Kooks.
Yeah. Right. I don't know whether to bring it up now. There was something that I told Ben that I'm going to mention, and with these things, with these pods, I always try and have a talking point. Like the other week we had a theatre drummer on. If they play for this person, and Dean was like, "Oh, you get this guy James on." I was like, "Yeah, we could." And then I found out a fact about you, and I was like, "Whoa, now he's definitely coming on." So James and I both share a medical thing. Should we say that? We both. Do you want to guess, Ben?
It's a medical thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not baldness, is it?
No, definitely.
No, clearly.
I don't know if I've told you this, Ben, before.
I mean, you're a bit annoying. Is that
not quite?
No?
I'll say it. Neither of us can burp.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Have I ever told you that, Ben?
I feel like you have, but I maybe just dismissed it as like, what the fuck is that?
Well,
like,
exactly, because I told Dean once that I couldn't burp. He was like, yeah, that's not a thing. What are you talking about? But James told Dean as well, James Dean. And now it's more believable. But also your partner, James, can't burp either.
Yeah. My fiance, she can't burp either. So it's we're in a no burp household. And it's a tough life,
Yeah.
We have to get each other through it. Honestly, right now I am struggling because I don't know if anybody can burp. You won't know that when you can't burp, you get these weird froggy sounds in your throat that go like, "Rah." It sounds horrible. And I'm literally on your podcast right now, worried about these froggy sounds coming from my throat.
Yeah, literally. Right. So I told you, this is how I found out about it, because it was lockdown 2 years ago. I was on the sofa with my new partner watching telly, Elfie, and I started doing that, weird froggy gargling noise in my throat. And she was like, what the fuck is that? That's mental. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I just do it sometimes. It's sort of like a burp. She's like, it's not a burp. So we Googled it. And yeah, there's this Reddit forum.
Yep.
The No Burp, which you've seen as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you actually seem to know more about it than I do, because when I asked you about stuff, you're like, basically, there's this procedure you can do where you get Botox.
Yeah.
Do you know how is it? Explain it.
So you get Botox injected into your, I think it's your larynx, but I'm not a throat expert, you know.
No.
I think it's your larynx, and then that helps it relax, and then that's the thing that's stopping us both from living incredible lives over here.
It really is. Because do you drink beer? Sorry, we'll come back to the larynx.
No, this is seriously an issue. I had my birthday not long ago, and I had 3.5 pints, which I'm a massive lightweight anyway, so I was already getting a bit drunk. But my friends had to finish my 4th beer because I was just all gassed out.
Yeah. This is the thing. I feel like I can't drink more than 3 or 4, and it's not because I get drunk.
Yep.
It's because it has nowhere to go. Because I think I said this to you the other night as well, the Sprite challenge. That's the kind of thing.
We'd smash that.
Exactly. I don't know if you've seen this, Ben, but it's basically
Well, I mean, we have to make this happen, because if you can't burp, I'm a proud burper.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry, boys, and I don't know if you feel like you're missing out, but
yes,
I mean,
big time.
I mean, we can all, I don't know, but we can all agree that Dr. Pepper is the fizziest of all fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
One sip of that, I'm ready to go. And that release.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel for you lads. Not been able to.
I know. Well, so there's so many parts.
So uncomfortable.
But yeah, so that Sprite challenge, you see people do it and they down as much as they can. They're like, oh God, how does someone do this? I can't do. And then they let out the biggest burp ever. And James and I have never had that release. So it's just like, we get more and more bloated, and then until I can't move. So most times I'm in a pub and I'm just like, struggling to walk.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. I burp, I think, about twice a year. I have no control over it. And I do like 2 a year. But I'm thinking I might have to start sort of taking the rest of the day off to celebrate, like once those 2 times a year. Because it's unbelievable. But funny you mentioned Dr. Pepper. This is what is messing me up right now. I had a Dr. Pepper 4 hours ago. Yeah. 4 hours ago. And I'm still in an absolute state over here.
Yeah, it is. It's that, because the only way I could describe to someone is say, have a can of fizzy drink. And then when you feel the burp coming, which I don't know what that's like, just stop it. You know what I mean? And see how you get on. Because, that's my only, if you want to know how we feel, that's it. But let's go back to quickly that throat surgery, because you know far more about this than I do. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, in America, you can get it done like it's normal, and loads of people get it done. And there's this guy I found on YouTube, and he got it. It's like £3,000 or something in the UK to get it done. And I literally was like on my calculator, like, how much a month for 2 years would I have to save up to get this surgery?
But would you do it though? Because without being too graphic, you told me if you do it the first week, you can't control it. You're just burping and vomiting all over the.
Yeah, it's a bit grim apparently for the first week. I think it's worth it, you know. Yeah. If anybody out there has $3,000,
yeah.
Oh, actually,
or has done the surgery.
$6,000.
Yeah, we can do it together. We'll go on a retreat and burp and buy some symbols.
Can we do like a transplant? Can I give you a bit of my larynx?
If you could give
like the old kidney.
Yeah.
Because I'm burping for Britain over here.
Well, this is it. So there you go, Ben. That was the talking point that I've had to.
You're both medical marvels. When do you discover that you can't burp because it's not something you do and then can't do?
When did you discover it, James? I remember when I did.
Well, I was in a really quiet RE class at school, and we were doing an exam, and my throat just kept going like that, like so loud, and it was as a kid, you're just so not confident in yourself, and as an adult, I just laugh at that, but I was just like absolutely crippled with like anxiety of how loud this was, and I was ruining everyone's exam, and then that was like, I just thought that was a me thing, but then I was sitting in a McDonald's car park about 3 years ago, and then I just was like, why do I get this noise? And I just Googled it like you did, and found out in a McDonald's car park.
So that it was 3 years ago that it was like the first time it was confirmed for you.
Yeah. Although Caitlin, my partner, she was like, no, you're being a attention seeker, because I am a massive attention seeker. So and I'm a big drama queen when I get ill. So she was like, no, you don't have this thing. And now turns out she does as well. So
wow. Because I did one,
I was hoping that was how you met, actually.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
on the No Burp Reddit forum.
Oh my God, romance through No Burp.
That'd be insane. Yeah, but it is wild. Yeah, my thing was, that 2 years ago. And it was like, right, what is this? This is mental. Because it was, after we'd have a big meal. And
how'd you not notice before that? But other people burp and you weren't.
Well, I don't know about you, James, but I'll burp, but it's almost like I'm making the noise, but it's not actually doing a burp. So I always thought I was burping, but I wasn't. It was like a gargle, but or that frog thing, but louder.
Yep. Exactly me. Exactly the same for me.
Yeah. And Elfie I was like, that was a burp, right? She's like, no, that wasn't a burp. That was your weird frog thing, but louder. But yeah. So I don't know. But
I think I know what this episode's going to be called.
Isn't it mental though? It's just, it's crazy. But there's, the artist Grimes.
Oh yeah.
She was married to Elon Musk or dated Elon Musk. I can't remember.
Yeah.
She can't burp. She's part of the No Burp gang. She was on an interview and she was like, "Oh, sorry, I can't burp," and she was all uncomfortable and stuff. And there's a few of
There's hope for us. There is hope for us.
Exactly, yeah. But I just felt very not alone anymore when I met you the other night, James. I was like, "Oh, there's another one. This is great," because I don't think I've ever met anyone else that can't burp. It was mental.
Yeah, we got you on this pod under the guise of drums, but really, George wanted
it's just a support network.
A fellow brother, yeah.
It is a support network.
Yeah.
After listening to your pod, James, I said to Ben, we should bring back. We tried because you did games on your pod.
Yes, we did.
And Jambo points. I don't know if that was a one-off thing.
No, we did. Yeah, we did Jambo points. Yeah.
Well, what's the Jambo point, first of all?
It's a great question. It changed each episode. We didn't really have any reason for anything, and they never meant anything. We were sort of meant to add up to you're meant to get a certain amount of points, and then at the end of the episode, we buy you something random like a pair of flip-flops, which we never actually bought anyone any of the things we said we would. But
if you do well in this, I'll buy you the $3,000 surgery.
Oh wow! Oh my, what's life changing? Right, I'm switched on now.
Right, the game we're gonna play is, Ben, do you want to introduce it? 'Cause you got the questions.
Car or drum?
Car or drum?
I thought about it. I thought like, we should have like a game or something regular, and then we did it, and it was like, shit, it's rubbish.
Yeah. So it's terrible, and we sacked it off. But I thought, seeing as you had a game on your pod, we'll keep this in. No matter what happens, even if it's shit, we'll keep it in the episode.
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm gonna list some names, and you got to tell me whether it's a model of car or a brand of drum.
Love it.
Car or drum?
Car or drum.
It's easy. I was gonna find some better ones. I didn't.
You just doing the same ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna start off with Brady.
Oh, now they're about as expensive as a car, but I love a Brady drum. So drum.
Look at that, the confidence.
Correct.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah. Trixon.
Ooh. Now that sounds like one of those sort of American hot rod cars, but I think it's that. Is that weird drum brand with the wonky kick drum? I'm gonna go drum.
It is a drum.
Is it the weird wonky kick drum, Ben? Do you know?
Don't know. No idea.
I'll Google it.
You have a look. Yeah. We're gonna go with the Ridgeline.
The Ridgeline. Oh, that sounds like some sort of beginner drum kit. But the Ridgeline.
It does, yeah.
I'm gonna go. Ooh, I think that's an American car, surely.
It is a car.
Yes. And you were right about Trixon. It is the wonky drum.
Yes.
So, double points, if anything.
We're going to go with the Equus.
Ooh, I've never heard of that. I'm a massive drum nerd, but Equus. Car.
It is a car.
This is
Jazz.
Correct?
Jazz?
Mm-hmm.
You just picked my car. That's my. I bought my car off my mum, and it won Old People's Car of the Year on Top Gear for multiple years running. And I'm proud to say I'm a Honda Jazz owner.
There you go. The Ayotte.
Oh, yeah, they're those weird drums, aren't they? With drum.
I mean, he's a drum nerd.
This is amazing. Yeah.
The Cumbus.
Sorry.
The Cumbus.
Car. It's got to be car.
It's a drum kit.
Oh no!
No.
What kind of drum kit?
No idea.
Don't want to know.
I mean, I think I am exaggerating how it's said. I think it's Cumbus, but I like saying Cumbus. The T-Rock.
T-Rock. That's like a pickup truck thing. It's a car.
It is a car. It's a Volkswagen.
Oh.
A T-Rock.
Oh.
It's like an SUV. The Fibes. Fibes.
Fibes. Now, I don't know if anybody watches David R, that is, a fan of this podcast, but he's like drum restoration and does loads of cool stuff with drums. He has a load of Fibes drum kits. They're the fiberglass drum kits, aren't they?
Correct.
Yeah, look at that.
And last but not least, the Calibra.
Oh, that stumped me. Oh, that's my throat noise. No.
Yeah.
You got it on there.
Keep that in. That's the audiogram.
I'm back to that RE exam. Oh no, embarrassing. Calibra. Drum.
It's a car. The Vauxhall Calibra.
Take my eyes, but not the Calibra.
8 out of 10. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Hey, I'll take that.
Pete George.
Yeah. No, I think I got 8, didn't I?
Nope, you got 6.
No, I got 6. God, that's embarrassing.
Yep.
It's funny, isn't it? The Cumbus, because yesterday when we were talking to, some point in the past, we were talking to another drummer who plays Canopus drums.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I saw Harvey Mason playing Canopus and he came to BIM. He had like crazy, I'd never heard of any of these brands. He was playing Murat Duril.
I was at that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you there, right? Yeah. He was playing Murat Duril, which I think the guy that made Murat Duril was like came up with Byzance for Minor, which is pretty cool. And then those Canopus drums as well. They sounded amazing. That's a cool brand.
That was, it was a cool brand. And that was a cool masterclass, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Super cool. Weirdly enough, actually, I was doing a gig in South Portsmouth 2 weeks after that. And I met Harvey Mason's cousin at a train station.
Which train station?
So our van broke. Our van broke on tour, so we had to get the train with all of my hardware, which was terrible. Just terrible. And I don't know where we were. We were stranded somewhere at some train station. And I don't know. I actually cannot remember how it came about that we managed to know that he was Harvey Mason's cousin. But we got there in the end.
I'm just intrigued about where you were stranded in Portsmouth, because that's where Ben lives. Yeah. And that's
where I am right now.
Yeah. But
it might have been Southampton or Portsmouth. I'm so sorry. I get them confused. I feel like that's really bad, isn't it? I shouldn't say.
Did you want to confuse the two of them?
Can you sort out your road system though? Can you talk to someone in Portsmouth? Because I just don't like it. It's like crazy.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We'll talk to someone.
Yeah, I'll talk to Penny.
Yeah.
Me and Penny, we go way back. Penny Mordaunt, MP.
I think it's the drive from Brighton to Portsmouth, which is the killer, because it's a lot of roundabouts.
I was about to say it's 4 million, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about 4 million.
We counted once, Oxygen Thief. We left Portsmouth to go and do a gig in Brighton, and we counted. We had a guess, and I think it was 28 roundabouts from leaving the studio to get into the green. Is it the Green Door store?
Yeah. Green Door store.
Like 28 roundabouts. Insane.
One of them on Google Maps on the way to Portsmouth is my favourite, because Google Maps to go left makes you go round the whole roundabout, and I do it every time.
It's so weird. I know exactly which roundabout you mean, and it says get into the right hand lane. You're like, well, I'm taking the first exit, and you have to get in there and then go. Yeah, it's clearly a glitch on Google Maps.
Me and my friend Travis cheer every time we go around it. It's great.
You go. I like the way before you told that, you kind of, your eyes lit up, and it was like, he's got a good roundabout story coming. I can feel this. There it was. Yeah, Harvey Mason was good though, wasn't he?
Oh, amazing.
It's just, I remember he was wearing slippers. That was what I took from that. Which was wild. About the coolest man in the world.
That was sort of at the point where I was like, at that point in my life, that's where I want to be, doing a drum clinic in slippers. And it seemed like he didn't care as well. Like if I did a drum clinic right now, I would be so scared. So that's how we should be living our lives, I think.
Well, we should. And on a serious note, I remember that drum.
Do the slippers
clinic.
maketh the man? Or does the man maketh the slippers, you know?
Slippers and a scarf. If you've ever seen any of the best drummers, they always wear scarves, like Jojo Mayer, you know, Benny Greb. So
it is true, actually. Yeah. Scarves and slippers.
My dad started wearing like a little scarf thing. Like, why? Why are you wearing that now?
Maybe he's an artist or a poet or something now. Has he started writing poetry recently?
Hope not. I don't know what he's doing.
About his time in the Navy. I sink within myself. I don't know. Yeah, Harvey Mason, I will say, on a serious thing.
My heart doth sink like the anchor of a frigate. You know, like that.
What's a frigate?
And then we killed them all. I don't know. Frigate, it's a warship.
Ben's dad was in the Navy. I don't know. I wasn't in the Navy. It's not even worth saying anymore. But no, Harvey Mason, I remember all the drum tutors and other people came to that. And I always thought that was like a mark of how great he was, because a lot of the masterclasses, Pat would be there, obviously, because he had to introduce
contractually obliged.
Yeah. But all the other ones, they were like, I'm not asked about seeing, you know, like top drummers, but they're like, it's fine. And some Pat didn't even turn up to, and it would be like, I was like, oh, that's got to be a kicker. I remember thinking that. I won't say who it was, but there was a drummer who did a masterclass, and he was quite a young drummer, respectively, and he was really proud about doing one because he used to go to BIM. And not even Pat was there. No drummers turned up to it. And I was like, oh my God. Because you'd be like, I'm coming back, guys. And was there. But yeah, Harvey Mason, it was just, that room was packed. It was like, it was, a lot of respect for that guy.
They were nerding out as well, all the teachers, like when looking at the drum kit afterwards. Yeah.
I remember seeing Vinny, like, because Jack Pollitt got on the kit. And Vinny was like, Jack, break one of his skins, that'll be funny. And having some banter, you know, because it was nothing vicious. Is there anything else we need to, you know?
Not really. I you know, if we're going to bring it back to drums a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw you play Istanbul Cymbals.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah. So I've never really had the money to sort of choose what I want, and the great thing about being self-employed, you can write that off, you know. So I sort of just saved up and really invested over lockdown, and I've got my favorite cymbal of all time is my 22-inch traditional jazz Istanbul ride. I'm going to say it right now, it's the best crash in the world. I crash it more than I ride it. It's just incredible. I think they're really, really great. My crash I had, it was like the day before the tax year ended, so I had to buy a crash without like trying it, and so I just bought a crash. And I have to say, it just sounds like a crash. It's nothing special. So I would like sort of to, you know, get some sort of crazy dry thing or something like that. But yeah, no, like I love all the Istanbul stuff. I think it's really just really complex, and I do love loads of other brands as well, but that's sort of what I'm into at the moment, is anything Istanbul, really.
How did you get into them? Because it's not, you know, an unknown brand, but it's not your big names. Was it an intentional thing, or was it by accident? Yeah,
no, definitely intentional. They used to be dirt cheap. They had this pack called Exist, Istanbul Exist. They still have them, but they used to be like 350 for 2 crashes, hi-hat and ride. And they're B20 cymbals, and they were incredible. It was such a good deal. So I got those ages ago, and then I went to sort of like Sabian AAX stuff when I was playing in, you know, grungy stuff as a teenager. But I think like drummers like Carter McLean, I think as Freddie Sheed has also moved to Istanbul now, and I saw all these people playing these cymbals, and I hadn't heard a sound like that. That I think I really like Meinl as well, but something about like dark washy stuff. Just that's my favorite type of cymbal. I don't want a cymbal to go ping ever. I think that's really for me. I know it works really well. It's like Biffy Clyro's. I think the standard, like any chorus is like just ping, but I think I want my all my cymbals to sound like a breath, just so dry. So I love Istanbul stuff.
Oh, I like that. I want it to sound like a gargle from a throat.
Yeah, I want it to sound like my throat issue. That's yeah.
Exactly. Just to bring it back to that. Right, Ben, do you want to ask the final question.
Thank you, George. Yes, I will. I will ask it. James, who is your favourite delivery company?
Favorite delivery company? Oh, now that's a tricky one. So the other evening, I think this is my least favorite. And the other evening, I had Amazon called me up. I was at the studio, and they were like, "I've got a parcel for you," and they said, "Well, I'm going to leave it in a bush," and I was in a rush, so I didn't actually think about it. And then I spent the rest of the evening for half an hour going up and down my road, checking every bush with a light on, and I looked like an absolute nutter. So definitely not them. I did actually.
Amazon, did you say?
Yes, and it was wet as well. It was like soaking. It was in like really in my neighbour's bush. It was like in their garden. So not them. I did listen to the full Lorry podcast. I've got to say, I've got to copy him. I've got to go with the standard Royal Mail, just consistent, nice,
Traditionalist.
Yeah, I like my my post lady as well. She's great. She you can hear
Vintage kits, coated skins, dry symbols, Royal Mail. It's a classic.
Honda Jazz,
Yeah. Yeah, Royal Mail. There you go.
Solid. Yeah.
Another win for Royal Mail. Where can people find you?
Oh, thanks. My Instagram is Gilly Drums. My name's James Gillingham, so I don't know if it's not Gilly Drums, it's James Gillingham. And I'd say congratulations, Edie Benz, Stephen Bamadele, those kind of acts as well. Always playing with them. So, yeah.
Nice. I thought you were congratulating us for a second there. So, congratulations on this podcast.
Congratulations on this podcast. Now, how many episodes are you in now? What number is this?
Well, do you know what? You are episode 69. So
no way.
Make of that what you will.
What a privilege.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah, we're balls deep in this now. We can't.
There's no going out.
Can't stop it now.
No, thank you so much for having me on there. I really, really, really appreciate it. So it's very cool to do something like this, and some of the people you've had on as well are amazing. So,
oh mate, thanks for being on.
Thank you for doing it.
Well, I mean, obviously we'll stay in touch because we're bonded forever.
We have to.
Yeah, we can't not be friends now.
Yeah.
See you on that No Burp Reddit forum.
Yeah, which is growing in people
upvoting each other's little posts.
Exactly. Nice one. Cheers, man.
Nice one. Cheers, guys.
Good to meet you, James.
Nice Take care, mate. Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Later. Bye.
There we go.
That was our chat with James G.
James G.
I forgot it again.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
Well, it is Gillingham, but I'm going, is it Gillingham, though?
Gillingham. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah.
Now you're making me doubt myself.
I know, this is it.
But I'm pretty certain he said Gillingham.
Yeah.
Because he said Gilly Drums, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Gilly
that's
Drums
true.
on his Instagram.
This is true. And it's funny because when you're listening to this, it will be literally, 30 seconds ago that he said that?
Yeah.
People are like, God, have they no memory? No, we don't. But yeah, lovely lad. And were you surprised by our medical condition? Interested?
Yeah, I mean, hard to say whether it's a medical condition.
Well, when you need surgery to fix it, I
true.
say
That
it's
is
a medical
true.
condition.
That is true. Yeah. It's
weird though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like Jimmy the Hat. What, because he wears a hat? No, because he's never worn a hat.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, how do you notice when someone's never... And I just think, how do you notice when you don't do something? That's what interests me. And I feel like you both only found this out quite late in life.
Yeah.
And you're not earlier gone, everyone's making this fucking noise and I'm not.
Well, as we said, we can make a noise, but it's not an actual burp, It's almost
the traditional burp noise.
Well, no.
You're not making it, are you?
Well, no, because the gargle is one thing, or the frog noise or whatever. Yeah. But we can go like, like a burp, what sounds to me like a burp. But the thing is, this is the one thing that we didn't say, which we both know, James and I, is that it's almost like that noise, it sounds like a burp, but you're not actually doing what a burp is and letting gas out. It's almost like the gas sort of floats around on the top of the throat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then goes, nah. It's like it's teasing you. But fascinating. I've finally found someone else to share my pain with. Anything else?
Not really, mate. I don't think so. No.
No.
Yeah, just nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What, as in like in life or?
Yeah. I mean, truth be told, we've done a lot of these in quite quick succession.
We have, yeah.
So it's quite hard to have anything fresh to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm off to get my car from its
Well, there's
MOT.
something.
That's all
Actually,
I've got. Yeah,
well,
go on.
Sally.
Is that your car?
Yeah, my Honda
Right.
Civic, Sally Civic,
Yeah.
had her MOT the other week, and it's that dreaded. I bought. She's 10. I've had her for 10 years now.
Mm.
Oh, that's a long time
That is a long time.
for one car,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
And
Yeah, just showing off.
there you go. Yeah,
Showing off.
showing off my skills. And I bought her in February, so now my MOT's in February. Worst time financially for a musician to have an MOT.
Yeah.
If it was in August, I'd be like, yeah, do whatever you want to it. February, it's like, what are the advisories?
Yeah.
And how long is that tyre legally allowed to be on the car for?
Yeah, because that was my thing
But
last year.
what I have in my head is, it's like, you obviously you don't want it to cost any money.
No.
You don't want there to be anything to be fixed. But if you just drill it, I drilled it into my head, an amount of money that if it's under that, I'm happy.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And for me, that amount, I'll be honest, George, is £500.
Yep.
If it's under £500, great.
Yep.
I'm happy with that. If I didn't have that mentality, even like 200 quid, I'd be like, oh, I don't have it. But I
Yeah.
can give myself like a false positive
Yeah.
by going 500 quid. I'd be happy to keep my car for another year.
Yep.
And then they phone up and they're like, yeah, a couple of bits, be 180 quid. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
yes.
Lovely. In a way,
Lovely.
you've saved 320 quid, you know?
Exactly.
Because my number, I had exactly the same thing today, 400 quid. And the fact that last year he called me about 10 a.m. I dropped off at 8. He said, hi, George, there's going to be some things I need to fix. It's failed. I need to, do you want me to go ahead? Sort of. When it's so bad, they're almost like, because I've had this before when I broke my clutch, they were like, do you actually even want us to do it? And he was like, I'm just letting you know it'll be about 400 quid. And I'm like, fucking hell. Whereas today, I just got a text at about 1:30, just said, car is ready. I'm hopeful that's good. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it must be because they can't do anything to the car without your permission.
Exactly.
So it's probably fine, mate.
We'll find out.
Our car's right on.
Yep. For another,
Throughout 2023.
maybe another year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
But,
well done, mate.
I don't want to have to buy a new car.
No.
I was the sort of person who'd be like, I'd have been on a PCPD like that. Like, yeah, get me a new car and I'll update it every 2 years or whatever.
Mm.
And then I started running my own business and I went, whoa. I got to be careful of the coffers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bought Sally and she served me so well. And it's like, yeah, just she's paid off years ago.
Yep.
So just keep her running. Keep her
Keep her
purring on by, baby. Keep her purring on by. Yeah. So there we go. Car
There we
chat.
Yeah.
That's what you all came for.
Yeah.
If you've stuck around
Whatever
this
the
long.
next episode is, we'll put that in. No, we won't. It's too confusing. We've done a lot of podcasts the past few weeks. And,
yeah, racking them up.
Yeah.
But then we'll be
chaos.
back fresh into spring where we
Yes.
actually have gigs and things.
Yeah.
And the weather's a bit nicer.
Yeah.
And
I'll have moved in a new flat, new job. There'll be
new
things to
job
talk
and all
about.
that. So
We won't have to keep getting guests because our lives were so boring Jan to Feb.
yeah. Maybe we need to think about that.
What?
Don't know. Just not get into this bit. Anyway, Instagram, Twitter, go check out James and all his stuff. He's a great drummer. He does a lot of videos on his Instagram. And you can see the Premier kit in action. I did think about we could do a sort of poppadoms or bread thing just quickly.
Yeah.
And I was thinking clear or coated skins.
Clear. Well,
I'm not asking you.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to know what you I know what you have because I
this is
put
it.
them bloody on it.
Yeah. It's true.
Moon Jello O-rings.
Yep.
And I don't know, are there other...
I guess if you could take the big stick, say Vic Firth or Promark, That could be one. But then there's also Vater. So
Yeah, and Zildjian.
wow,
Or you could, Zildjian or Sabian.
Yeah,
Like Messi
yeah,
and
but
Ronaldo,
even
innit?
then, yeah, but yeah.
But if you play for Man United, you can still choose Messi or Ronaldo, can't you?
I reckon probably end the episode now.
Yeah. Right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.